We have some breaking news. Argentina has now ready and set to accept Bitcoin. That's absolutely massive. This is crazy how fast the world has changed. And I believe Michael Saylor is even more bullish than he has ever been before. Michael Saylor, obviously from MicroStrategy, calling for a $5 million Bitcoin. Got the one and only legendary co-host, Rory. How are you today, mate? Surf looks like it is sweet.
Yep, I've got a surfboard in the car too. So as soon as we finish this, I'm going for a swim.
Nice. That's so good. Stack that, stack some sun, stack some surf. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to play a couple of things, but if you just don't mind, if we can get in to the numbers first. Let's start off with block height, 822,280, exchange rate 43,514, sats per USD 2,298 there. About 9 minutes and 29 seconds. Obviously, the inscriptions, the ordinals, the bloody wizards are still clogging up the mempool. 336,805 transactions unconfirmed. Now, breaking news. We have Argentina Ministry of Foreign Affairs says we ratify and confirm that Argentina contracts can be agreed in Bitcoin. This is absolutely massive. It doesn't mean it's going to be on their central reserves balance sheet, but this is amazing. Slowly, then suddenly it starts with this. We can see simply Bitcoin here. Argentine Chancellor Diana Mondino announces that under Javier Milei's economic emergency decree reforms, contracts are now allowed to use any currency chosen by the parties, including Bitcoin. I'll jump into the full article shortly that says it, but this is hilarious. Bitteroo, this did not age well. This is Michael Saylor, December 19, 2013. Bitcoin's days are numbered. It seems just like a matter of time before it suffers the same fate as online gambling. And then compare this to this. So I'll make that a little bit smoother for you. We'll go full screen. And we've got a minute here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to jump into a Friday banter. But Rory, listen to this, and I want to get your comments on how bullish Michael's sounding at the moment.
Joining me is Michael Saylor. He is co-founder and executive chair of MicroStrategy. Of course, MicroStrategy, often seen as a Bitcoin proxy, it holds a lot of it on its balance sheet. Michael, great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Obviously, there's been so much anticipation and frankly, a lot built in, I think, to the price of Bitcoin of this idea that spot ETFs are finally going to come. What's the next catalyst for Bitcoin if and when that happens? How much further can it be pushed upward?
Well, I think you can't really underestimate the significance of the spot ETFs. It's not unreasonable to suggest that this may be the biggest development on Wall Street in 30 years. I mean, the last thing that was this consequential was the creation of the S&P index and the ability to invest in all 500 S&P companies via one trade at the same time. So this is very eagerly anticipated, but most of the money in the Bitcoin market right now is the hodlers and the traditional crypto investors. Mainstream investors, mainstream retail, mainstream institutions have not had a high bandwidth compliant channel to invest in this asset class until these spot ETFs. So I think in January, the approval of the spot ETFs is going to be a major catalyst. It's going to definitely drive a demand shock.
Not that I'm for the ETFs, so I just want to play a couple more seconds here, but I love what he says the ETFs will allow to happen and how they'll allow them to happen.
And then that will be followed in April with a supply shock because there are about 900 Bitcoin a day available for sale by natural sellers, the miners. And that number is going to be cut to 450 Bitcoin a day in April. So it's a pretty big deal.
Cool. And then he likens it to the ETFs being like huge shipping supply rails to be able to bring people on board, high frequency, obviously fees and stuff attached. So a couple of things, Rory. What are you thinking about Javier Milei, Argentina, now allowing people to use Bitcoin? We can dive a little bit more into that. And what are your thoughts on Michael Saylor? And even let's dive into 2024. It's Bitcoin's changed, hey, and it is changing right before our eyes. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's getting some pretty decent traction, that's for sure. I'm starting to get get comments and people getting in contact going, hey, you're that, you still into Bitcoin? And I'm going, a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. But that particular video of Michael Saylor, I went to the dentist the other day and I was trying to orange pill him, and I got him on Facebook, so I made sure I screen recorded that exact video and sent it to him. Then he's like, oh, as they do. But Javier Milei, that news about Argentina, you broke that news to me about 10 minutes ago. It's an early morning for me, and I was rushing a little bit this morning to get down to the beach. But so that's brand new news to me, but all good news. I really hope that he does what he says he does, and he's not just going to be like a normal politician. How they just get in there, they say, oh yeah, we're going to change all this, we're going to help out, we're going to do, X, Y, Z, and they do, LMNOP.
Yeah, absolutely. Time will tell, but he's only been in power really for a couple of days, business days, really, and to be able to. Yeah, hours, and he's got a long time ahead of him, but he really is starting to hit it hard. But it'll be interesting to see if, I guess, this further down the track and everything happens slowly, then suddenly nothing's going to happen overnight, ladies and gentlemen. But to be able to have these type of things in place now allows them to move towards the Bitcoin adoption further down the track if they do so. But it's almost like, I feel like they're testing the water a little bit. Like, hey, can we get away with this? Obviously, everyone's beholden to the IMF. So I think we're going to see more and more of it. That Bitwise commercial that went around the other day, Matt Hogan, the most interesting guy in the world. What were your thoughts on that in regards to, obviously they say crypto as well, but what are your thoughts in regards to the video? Do you want me to play it for you?
Absolutely.
I love it, man. I've watched it so many times now.
You know what's interesting these days?
Cut.
We get him.
You know what's interesting these days? Bitcoin. Look for Bitwise, my friends.
I absolutely love it. One thing I want to say, Rory, you may need to hold your microphone a little bit closer to your mouth. I've turned your volume settings up as well. And if you haven't already, ladies and gentlemen, just a real quick ask. We did hit the end of year goal. We hit 6,009 subscribers. If you've been here for a while, you know why 6,009 subscribers is good. 69 with the infinity sign in the middle. Yes, it's Christmas. We will be here. We'll take a couple of days off over Christmas. But if we vibe, hit subscribe, because we may have some very interesting guests coming up. If you can read between the lines there, I shall say no more. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that Bitwise video, man? It's incredible.
The narrative seems to be changing. It looks like everything's leading up to next year. They're getting everything sorted well. But first things first, testicles 1, 2. Testicles 1, 2.
Yeah, works good. Works good.
Good news. Yeah, it's interesting to see the CEO of Bitcoin putting out all this new marketing campaigns. So it's good to see. But on that note about your subscriber count, nobody else subscribed. It's at the perfect number right now.
It surpassed it. It lasted there for a second. I just managed to screenshot it, and I'm like, thanks very much for everyone that's been on this journey. Obviously, first and last, Hashtags has made a ETF as well. I'll bring that up. We played that the other day here on the channel. It's not as good. Like, I don't know. I just don't like the sound of it. But in saying that, any ETF's a good ETF. No drama. Let me just see if I can find that Hashtags. It's all right, but I think by far, so far, it's incredible what Bitwise has done. Here it is here. Let me share this tab instead and play this. Pretty cool, hey? Like the mainstream institutions are now going to start spend hundreds of millions of dollars advertising Bitcoin. A couple of years, we'd always say the institutions are coming, this is so great, the institution's going to be here this cycle, and they'd never show. But, the most dangerous words, this time it's different. Maybe it is. It's starting to look that way, in my opinion. I try not to get too overexcited personally within myself, but I see some pretty crazy things, and there's going to be $10,000-$20,000 wicks either way, so be prepared. It's not going up in a straight line, ladies and gentlemen, in a short time. Over a long time, in my opinion, yes. But yeah, what are your thoughts about mainstream coming in here, what they're doing with all their marketing for us, good, bad, and different?
I want them to stop. I want them to dump. I want them to dump the price. I want to get as many sats for my fiat as possible. So it's a catch-22 for me. So just every week I keep stacking, and I keep seeing the price go up, and I go, I'm getting less and less sats. Come on, guys, what's going on here? When are they going to do the big play, dump the market so they can accumulate? That way I can help out as well. But on that note, about all your subscribers and things, mate, I was just wondering if everybody that is watching this at any time, put the block height that you're watching it at in the comments. We can check how far along this goes.
That'd be cool. So at the moment, block height 822,282. Time chain calendar .com, absolutely amazing. There's have we been on long enough? There's a total dickhead in the comments asking about some shit coin out there and asking why it just dumped in the last 90 minutes. It's because it's shit. And don't bring it up again. I ask people is stacking sats. But yeah, like you're saying, Rory, the higher the price goes, the less sats that you're getting. And I can see in regards to 2024, that number is going to drop below 2,000 pretty quickly. And that's the closest, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to get for a price prediction from me. I don't know price predictions are almost a little bit of Bitcoin porn, really. Like the price is going to end up what it's going to end up at. I don't know. Yeah, stop whatever that was. But like, what are your thoughts? Do you see it breaking the 100K? Do you think it's going to break the 100K, and why would it? Why would it not break the 100K mark, or is it going to far exceed that?
I have, how people say, I don't want to give a price prediction, X, Y, Z reasons. I've learned, I've been burnt in the past. I've done price predictions for certain other things. I literally just don't even have an opinion on it. I just know that this isn't going anywhere. It is so societal changing. It connects the world at a completely different level. Like, I traveled all through my 20s, so I realized what this asset actually is and how it helps do a lot of commerce and do a lot of trading and do a lot of transactions worldwide. Trying to send money overseas through the traditional finance system is just ridiculously hard. And you pay through the nose everywhere you go. You pay when it goes out, you pay when it comes in, you pay with the exchange rates, and Bitcoin streamlines, and it takes forever. And Bitcoin just streamlines it. So I understand what this is. In terms of how far it goes, I don't know. I don't plan on selling it ever. I can't even, I'm not smart enough to understand where this, or even give a price prediction on where it could go. Not at all. Yeah. But I just know that one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin.
No, I think that's it. Simple math, hey? As Greg says, if you don't understand math, ladies and gentlemen, you're absolutely fucked. Paraquoting, but that's pretty much how Greg Foss talks. And you can see limited supply, fiat toilet paper is infinite, and with something infinite going on in the world, scarcest asset. We can see where the trend's been, the best performing asset in human history, the hardest, scarcest asset. And it's digital technology. It's greater than digital gold. It's so much more. But yeah, like you, man, I'm not selling. I'm holding on. And there's only over 21 million. So you might want to get some just in case it catches on. I love that meme. Obviously, my advice here is not financial, but to study Bitcoin and have that. First a g'day and then a G night. Long live Bitcoin. Fred, absolutely appreciate you, man. You asked if I could pronounce your last name. I'm not going to try, mate. I'd do it a very big injustice. Eminem is in the chat. How super sick. Eminem, I listen to you nearly every day. Get crazy and lose myself a little bit there. Diametric is a degenerate gambler in the chat. I'm glad at least he kept... stop mentioning shitcoins. Well done. Very fast learner, Diametric. So happy for you to stick around, but please don't bring up shitcoins in the chat again. That'd be greatly appreciated. Pump the shit and buy more stats to go with my Gox Holded and tax Bitcoin lock in 2014. So, ouch. Yeah, man, ouch. I'm sorry to hear. That's why it's so important. And obviously, self-custody solutions and stuff aren't as great back then. But they are absolutely fantastic now, ladies and gentlemen. So get it off your exchange, put it in cold storage. Yes, you may pay. You need a... You've gone dark, bro. Dark mode. Dark mode for Rory early in the morning. Thunderstorms are rolling in. It is what it is. As long as your voice is still silky smooth, man, it's all good. But get them off the exchange. And this is a conversation you and I had the other day, Rory, was in regards to you had a friend, and I've had some other people in the comments. It's going to cost me $30 in fiat to move like $3,000 worth of Bitcoin. Should I wait for the fees to come down or should I move it? And my response was, if it was me, I wouldn't be holding it on the exchange, especially if you cannot afford to lose 100% of that overnight. Is $30 too expensive to secure $3,000, or even is $30 too expensive to secure 300? I know that's 10%, but what are your thoughts?
Where they're looking at that is they're looking at the price. They're not looking at the amount of BTC that they're getting charged. This is what I was trying to tell my friend, who was telling me, he's like, oh, it's like $45 to transfer. I was like, yeah, but it's only 0.00045 of a Bitcoin, So I was sitting there going, I'm like, dude, if the price comes down, that means the price of Bitcoin comes down. The price of the actual fee that you're losing for the Bitcoin for the transfer, it's always going to be the same, because that's the way that the exchanges are run. You could go with other exchanges and they charge a lot higher. You can go with other exchanges and they charge lower. And it all depends on what exchange you've got them ported on. It's better to do, known KYC, use like BISC or something like that, which is like you can't get as big transfers. But I was talking to a friend. I went up to Brisbane and I caught up with a mate up there, a fellow Bitcoiner, and he did a peer-to-peer transaction. And he paid 4% on the transfer through the other Bitcoiner that he met through a Bitcoin meetup. He's like, man, I did it just because it was what it was designed for. He goes, I didn't even use an exchange. So it went straight into his KYC, his non-KYC UTXOs stack, which, again, I'm not smart enough to understand, but I'm trying to learn that. So that's fun, playing around with the Sparrow wallets and naming all the different UTXOs. And it's still well above my pay grade for sure.
Yeah. One of the most interesting things, I guess that's the way Bitcoin's designed, is to be able to go peer-to-peer, and you can do it. Lightning for like day-to-day transactions, I think, is the easiest way to do peer-to-peer. But like your friend, if they're doing a big thing, if you're paying 4% over spot for KYC free Bitcoin, I'm not recommending this, ladies and gentlemen. Look into it yourselves. But if people are doing that, a 4% premium, Bitcoin will move 4% in a day or in an hour or in a week or whatever. So it really, for most people that are really looking for that KYC free sats, they don't care. So it's down 1% today. Yesterday it was up 4%. I think that's pretty bloody amazing, hey, to be able to have the world's greatest asset and KYC free or KYC. Read between the lines, ladies and gentlemen. Buy Bitcoin and sell fiat. Steve J, as long as they keep issuing debt and printing Bitcoin price is infinite. A couple more. I want to get through this news article in regards to Harvey MLA because it's pretty epic what's just happened, man. Like, slowly then suddenly, I'm so pumped. It was the first thing that I saw this morning as well. I get some of the wording's pretty wild, and maybe a couple of people are going to take the piss out of it, and we'll get into that. But I think it really is starting to give freedom back to the individual. So I'll just read a few things, ladies and gentlemen. In Argentina, contracts can be settled in Bitcoin by the foreign minister. Diana Mondillo, I'm just going to put you on mute for a second, Rory. Diana Mondino announced the news on X, formerly Twitter, December 21. December 21, what a date, hey? They hit that meme date so well, the 21, everything divided by 21 million, following a decree by the Argentine government. I wonder if that was a coincidence. Anyway, Diana, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Trade and Worship of Argentina. That sounds a strange name to call it, and Worship of Argentina. Anyway, however, has claimed that a decree legalizing the use of certain currencies in contracts and for payments would apply to Bitcoin. December 21, Mondino said that a decree seemingly aimed at economic reform and deregulation would allow the use of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in the country under certain conditions. The base for the reconstruction of the Argentine economy decree passed in December 20 did not specifically mention crypto, but include provisions that debtors had the choice to pay in currency not recognized as legal tender in Argentina. We ratify and confirm that in Argentina, contracts can be settled in Bitcoin, said Mondino, and also any other crypto. They want to be able to have freedom. So according to Mondino, this is pretty bullish news. The decree would also allow for settling contracts. And this is what I have a feeling people may take the piss out of a little bit. Settling contracts using liters of milk or steers. And I'll explain why I think that's a good thing. Other provisions within the decree give individuals the freedom to choose the type of currency used, largely referring to foreign currencies, but not explicitly denying crypto. Keep your minds on the liters of milk and steers. The parties have the liberty to specify the amounts and the type of currency used for the bonded security deposit, as well as the method for its reimbursement upon the lease's conclusion, said Article 119669 backwards of the decree. So, Rory, I just want to get your thoughts on the liters of milk and steers. Do you see anything significant in that, or do you think they're just taking the piss? And I've got my own thoughts, which I'll share shortly.
Fingers crossed they're taking the piss.
I think that's the reaction of most people. I guess my reaction to that is because it is a third world economy, and this is me coming from a very privileged place in Australia in a first world country, but people in the agrarian culture will be able to trade and have a little bit more freedom. So if they're already on a farm or they're looking after a cow or two, they can then use that commodity instead of selling it for fiat. They can use that to be able to trade in more of a barter system between people. And maybe they can even put futures on there, like over the next 5 years or whatever, you're going to get this many liters of milk or whatever to be able to get the capital to be able to start off with. So I think that's pretty important in that regard. I don't think it's going to be used a lot. G'day, surfer, bro. That'll be you in a moment. But I think that's pretty cool. Just giving the individuals the freedom to choose the type of currency used. It allows the free market to be the free market. I think that's pretty, I don't know if there's really a precedent in the modern world for it. So I think it's pretty cool myself. Couple more things here. That's what happens early sunrise at the beach with the sun coming up behind you, but it's all good. Maybe flick your camera, like tilt it away so you're shining towards more of the darker area behind you instead of the lighter. Fred Kruger. So Fred Kruger, absolutely amazing. 18 days before EFT D-Day, let's talk about BlackRock for a moment. BlackRock's Bitcoin bet in preparation for the ETF. They own 6% of Mara Value, 300 million USD, 6% of Right Value, 211 million USD, 7% of MicroStrategy Value, 529 million USD. Total 1 billion USD, or about 1% of their entire market cap. 1%. They also own smaller stacks in Can, Cypher, and Wolf. They used to own Hut, but seem like they have divested. Anybody thinking they want Bitcoin to go down needs to have their heads examined. Note that this move into miners is fairly recent. It appears they start seriously planning the ETF back in August. Only in August. This is how fast BlackRock moves, and started to take these positions in the last 3 months. Once this ETF gets out, you can be guaranteed that they will pull every string to make sure it is in the pole position amongst the 13 applicants. The marketing wars are starting. A new weight category of 800-pound gorilla has entered the room. So it's TikTok next block, Rory. Obviously, we're coming up to Christmas. Do we get a Santa Claus rally or not? We'll see. You know, it's days away. But ETF, do you reckon it gets approved, or is Gensler going to get paid to delay again and come out with some other nonsense line paid for by Jamie Dimon and Elizabeth Warren to delay it once more? Or has Larry Fink got more persuasion over what Gensler does and does not do? Or is it even down to Gensler anymore?
I don't know. I was talking to my friend about this, and he was saying that the amount of money that these guys have put into the whole industry itself, instead of just the commodity, I don't know. There's not much left on the exchanges. There's not much there, and as soon as it gets sold, I like what British Oil talks about. They're going to have to sell the ETF as well. So they're going to have to teach their staff. They're going to teach. I don't know if you've ever done sales. Well, I know you've done sales, but anybody else out there's done sales, you know what it's like. You need to learn the script. You need to learn the objections. You need to learn the rebuttals. You need to learn how to communicate your product efficiently and effectively and quickly. So there's going to be that training, and unless you are already in the space and you're as passionate as what you and I are, it's not. It's going to be that learning curve. And especially if you're dealing with high net worth individuals, you're going to have to be able to explain this asset class pretty thoroughly, I imagine, for the highly intelligent people of that space. They'll be like, well, what about this? What about this? Why would I do that?
Don't you think though they'll just be like, gold has been a great store of value for the last 2,000 years. 2,000 years ago, you could buy a fine suit of gold. Now, with 1 ounce of gold, 2,000 years later, 1 ounce of gold. A fine suit with 1 ounce of gold. You know what I'm saying? You're picking up what I'm putting down, brother.
I'm catching what you're throwing.
That's it. So do you not reckon that they'll just be like, okay, so gold's traditionally been a great store of value. However, now we've got Bitcoin. We live in a technological age. Bitcoin is digital gold for a digital future. However, because it's scarcer than gold, over time it's going to go up higher than gold. Like, what more do they need to say than that? Do they really? Because they're not going to offer for people to put it into self-custody. They're going to keep them in the ETF and keep collecting the fees. Do they need to go any more complicated than that? Because even though countries around the world, and they can say it, they'll be like, countries are holding it on their balance sheets around the world, like El Salvador, and it's acted as the best hedge against inflation. Do they need to make it more complicated and educate people more than that? Because I think people buying the ETF are just going to simply get in there for the number go up.
I think it'll be both. So you'll get the people who go, yeah, just sweet, put money in it. I know it goes up. You tell me how much it's up a percent, how many percent it's up a year. Perfect. It's going to replicate that. Cool. I trust you. Chuck my money in it. Then you get the other people that want to understand exactly where their money's going, and because there's been such a narrative over the last 14 years about how it's for traffickers, for nefarious activities. You've had companies go bankrupt and still people have lost life savings and things like that. There's going to be that aspect as well where people are still not going to be able to trust it, even though that they're going to start bringing out, and they've already started bringing out, oh, it's actually better for the environment versus it uses so much energy compared to a country. So they're changing that narrative slowly. But I think the old narrative that they've been pushing for the last 14 years, it will still hang around in people's minds, and they'll be like, oh, yeah, well, maybe I'll just wait. And then the people, that's what I think,
Yeah.
I don't have millions of dollars in an asset manager, so I couldn't tell you exactly how people think, but I kind of feel like if I did have that would be my questions. I don't know. That's it's above my pay grade for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something interesting to dwell on, and I think about a lot, is these people that are high net worth individuals probably are a little bit more educated. They've made some money somewhere, so they're paying close attention to it. They probably understand how inflation is affecting themselves. So I dare say when BlackRock or whoever it is, Bitwise, comes to them and says, you feel inflation, this best performing asset, it's, outrunning inflation at a rapid pace, protecting your purchasing power, it's digital gold. I think these people then may end up reading a book or something. Like, I think the sales fly, the marketing material that they start giving out, like, I want to get my hands on that. I think for every rebuttal they'll go through, I think it'll be pretty amazing. I just want a big shout out to Randall. He's dropping some facts here. Bitcoin is too hard to understand. I'm just going to stick with it and do what Elizabeth Warren says. Well done, Randall. That comment takes the cake here. Bloody that's
Smart man, that guy.
Incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, this year, 2023, obviously, I don't know. We've been in the bull run, sort of been in the bull run for a while now, but we've started the year in the bear market, and if you still think this is the bear market, you're out of your mind. It's it's going to get volatile, it's going to get choppy, and we may see chop for the next couple of weeks, months. Definitely know that when the ETF gets dropped out, dropped, they may not trade it day one. Like, it could be up to 6 weeks afterwards. So is it a buy the rumor, sell the news? Like, who cares? Just follow your plan, stick to your plan. I think for me, at least, I can see where the trend is heading. And like Rory, I'm not selling. But Rory, what are your thoughts as we move into 2024? How do you see, like you sort of mentioned, the ESG narrative is starting to shift? We're seeing that. What do you see more so happening or developing on the actual Bitcoin side of things? Not the fake paper Bitcoin side of things with the ETFs, but within Bitcoin. Is Lightning going to expand out, or are we going to see the greater adoption of Liquid? Are there going to be more wizard pet rocks and stuff clogging up and paying to play on the base chain? Or what are some of your thoughts in regards to Bitcoin as this 2023 sort of draws to a close?
Well, I feel like when the ETFs get approved and there's a lot more capital flowing into the asset class, I think that'll bring a lot of the developers who are in other shit coins, and hopefully that'll bring them to the forefront and help move the Lightning Network forward. This whole talk about the ordinals, that's just that's crazy. I saw a thing on Twitter the other day, and it was like the transaction fees were 6.9, or maybe it was 6.5, but it was over the block.
6.9, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm hoping, but no, it was definitely over the block reward by, not by a lot, but it was by a significant amount for what you got. So I was like, oh shit, thank you ordinals. They just going to make my UTXOs more expensive, you buggers. So hopefully they can work out how to keep that, or I don't know. They either, I know that the transaction fees are going to be what incentivizes the miners down in the future, but I just want to stack as much sats and not lose as much in the transfers. So the ordinals can fuck off for a little while I stack my sats.
Yeah, the fees are a little bit cheaper at the moment, but what you're saying, is about 7% in subsidy in the fees, and then the 6.125 in the subsidy. That happened over the weekend. One of the things you said is in regards to people taking their shit off these shitcoin casino chains, and we've seen, I guess this sort of validates your point, is ETH broke below 0.05 Bitcoin for the first time in a very long time. Everything is trending towards zero within Bitcoin. One of the things, ladies and gentlemen, is tomorrow I've got the video with Checkmate from Glassnode coming out. Rory, thank you very much for organising that. It was a bloody incredible conversation. This guy, the lead analyst from Glassnode, dives into the on-chain side of things and what we're seeing in the adoption there, and we dive into it. But I guess to your point, yes, the fees seem expensive at the moment, but I believe they're going to get much worse, as block space will be one of the most valuable commodities in history alongside Bitcoin. It is so limited, it is so scarce. So they may need to scale it up, but I guess that's what I see more Lightning and stuff for. For me, it's just sort of a one-way trip, and I don't mind paying that fee there. I definitely ask it if you're watching. It's super easy. Hit the like button. It's going to get the video and all this Bitcoin signal out to many people. More of a Friday banter today, but that video coming out tomorrow. And hit subscribe. It really helps out the channel and helps me get this message out to as many people, allows us to be able to get this signal out. But Rory, I'm going to take you full screen. And what's some of the messaging as we close out this year, and people go into the happy holiday season?
I was expecting more of some red candles actually coming up to Christmas, because I was thinking people were going to be freeing up some cash to buy Chrissy presents and everything like that. And it seems that hasn't been the case. So we got a lot of hodlers in the crowd at the moment, which sucks again, because
just on that super quick, 80% of the supply has not moved in 6 months. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, so I'm one of these guys that needs their head examined because I want the price to go down. simply to stack more. Yeah, and you do, because we know what's coming. We know it's not far away. Whether it gets approved in January or which is, I think it's 3 weeks away or less than 3 weeks. If that gets approved in January 10th, that would, I don't know if it's going to pump in the short term or if it's going to dump in the short term, because they're going to try and accumulate. So I don't know. They're definitely going to have an influence. They've been controlling, or they've been buying a lot of stocks in the mining companies. So they've been investing a lot in the industry. Whether or not they're going to try and use that to manipulate the price because my understanding, get cheap sats, and then when the price goes on a run, you're sitting there very, very happy. But all I do every week is just stack sats every week, because I know what's coming. And
stack sats and chill.
Yeah, I'm not doing a Christmas. I'm seeing my grandmother in the nursing home, which she's locked down in COVID, so that's fun times. So there's no money being spent for Christmas presents, because it's I don't really think that is what Christmas should be about anyway. But I know a lot of people do, young kids and things, you give presents, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Do the whole fairy tale, lie to your kids and tell them there's a magical man that comes down chimneys in Australia, which we don't have.
Give your kids this for Chrissy Bitcoin evangelism. Have you read it yet, bro?
I haven't been at home. But my dad said that there was a big parcel, and I went,
Nice.
it's probably got a Nautilus shell and a book in it. So that's ready when I get home.
Sick, sweet. Like you're saying, I just want to get onto it. It's going to be pretty volatile, in my opinion. Prepare for it, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a very fun time coming up, down, and sideways, and it's probably going to happen all three in one day. But just stack and chill. Look out long term. When in doubt, zoom out. Rory, absolute pleasure as always. We'll do this again soon. But everyone, just do something nice, and we'll see you tomorrow with James with Glassnode. Whatever day Christmas is here is Monday, so I won't be back on Monday. I'll be back on Tuesday, which will probably be Christmas Day for most of you watching anyway. So we'll drop in and say g'day there. Absolute pleasure.